These are Minecraft hacks that don't seem obvious, but you wouldn't want to forget about them. Starting with this trick to get infinite supply of the best food in the game. Suspicious stew is a great food source, but it's not great to craft, especially when you can't stack them. So if you can't easily hold on to a stack of suspicious stew, the next best thing is to get yourself a mushroom. And not just anyone, but if you shock it with lightning, sorry little guy, and then feed it the flower of your choice, preferably a dandelion, because it's the best one, then that's how you get an infinite amount of suspicious stew. Though worth mentioning is that the flower only works once per. So if you wanted 64 saturation suspicious stew, you need 64 dandelions. Luckily, those are easier to farm than the other suspicious stew. It's a simpler trade-off. Lighting up your base is great, but you never want to be too obvious about it. Having a torch on the ground doesn't look the best, is what I'm trying to say. But luckily, there is a way for us to hide it. Since if you place down a torch and then have an armor stand entity drop on top of it, then after you suit up that armor stand with whatever armor of your choice, then you'll have successfully made hidden lighting within your base. And while I'm not saying that you should go and spam a bunch of armor stands around your base, that looks more awkward than torches, I think looking for little alternatives like this can really make a difference when you can. Splash bottles of water normally seem like a waste, and usually when you see one of these, it means that you accidentally put gunpowder in a step too early in the brewing stand. These can actually be pretty useful. Since while we can't bring water to the nether, we can use one of these to douse ourselves and put yourself out if you catch on fire. And you can also throw it on the ground to get rid of actual fires that are around you, meaning that even if you burn to death, your stuff won't. If you're working on a building and you need a temporary block, then instead of using things like dirt or netherrack, reach for a powdered snow bucket instead. Since these can not only make for great scaffolding to get yourself out of a pinch, but they could also give you a temporary block to place other blocks off of, which overall gives you way less cleanup than the alternative. And I'm the kind of person who's looking for less chores to do, not more. It's great for me. In Java Edition, we trade with piglins like this, but on Bedrock Edition, we can do it so much faster. And the reason for that is that if you place down 2 observers to create an infinite clock, and then attach to that a sticky piston with a gold block on top of it, then when you throw the gold to the piglins to trade, you'll see that they're trading every single tick that's possible. So if you've got enough gold to fund it, I'd say pay up. You get yourself quite the show. At first glance, this bridge might seem pretty typical, but when you look close, you might wonder why our fences look this way. Well, truth is, if you tie a lead to a mob and then tie that to a fence, then after you take care of the mob, the rope texture around the fence will still stay, giving us a new thing to decorate with. And while you could also do this by putting an axolotl in and out of a bucket, I will say that axolotls aren't leads are not slow, so I'd rather take the cruel option. At least it's painless for us. And if you take the setup from the piglin farm and switch out the gold block for a lightning rod, then when you throw a channeling trident on top, every time that it goes up and down, it'll strike lightning right on the source, giving you an infinite lightning farm, and a workplace hazard if you step too close, which you can then use as a mob converter of sorts. Hey, even use it to get the brown mushroom from earlier. Or if you're crazy, you could do like we did and kill the wither with lightning. It just might take a few attempts. Minecraft has plenty of doors, but what about a dog door? Well, if you want one of these in your base, all you gotta do is break a 1x1 hole where you want the door, and then place a sign inside like so, and then place a block on each side of the hole, and then place down a 1x1 painting to cover it up. After that, you'll have the perfect sized door for your dog. It'll also be perfectly hidden, as long as no one goes punching for it. Although trapdoors are made out of wood, they don't burn in lava. Yeah, I don't get the logic either, but we don't have to understand it to know that we can use this to get ourselves quite a bit of diamonds. Since whenever you come across a lava pool, all you have to do is just bring around a crimson or warp trapdoor like this, and then flip it open to get yourself the diamonds at the bottom of the lava lake. But just be careful, because even if the trapdoor doesn't burn, your diamonds definitely could. Armor stands might place down as blocks, but they're actually entities, which sure enough means that we could put multiple of these in the same 1-block space, which lets us get some pretty wild results. Even if you don't have the kind of command blocks or vanilla tweaks data packs to make designs like this, all you have to do is place down one armor stand with a mob head of your choice, and then a second armor stand in front of it with the armor that you want. So then when you push the armor stands with a piston into the same block, that'll make it look as if the mob head is actually wearing the armor that you want. And thankfully, it's just a statue. A creeper wearing diamond armor, that would be terrifying. Instead of using redstone for your dance floor, why not use shulkers? Since silly as that may seem, if you actually manage to get a shulker into a minecart and push it through the end portal, then we can position it in such a way in our floor to have ourselves a living, breathing floor design. And then as the shulker opens and closes, it'll give you this pulsing effect to the floor. Oh, and also a built-in defense system if people get too close. If you're building a farm, you might want to use mud blocks instead of grass or dirt. And the reason for this is that mud blocks are just 1 pixel smaller in their hitbox than grass or sand blocks. And all that 1 pixel means is that items are actually able to be pulled through a hopper. And there you have it, just with that simple change, our whole farm design just got so much cheaper. And not to mention the rates get better as well. Really, for the price of crafting a water bottle, it's worth doing this at your next farm. When we talk about Minecraft traps, cake probably isn't top of your list. But here's why it should be. Since silly as it may seem, if you trap your friend in a case of cake like this, and then replace the floor underneath them with a piece of soul sand, then when we add in a water source block, we'll have trapped them inside of a bubble stream. And just that little bit of bouncing around is gonna make it very tough to break the cake. And at that point, their best way out is if they're hungry. Which I've never seen anyone eat a full cake in Minecraft. Minecraft, so they might be there for a while. With the help of a minecart and a strider, we're able to get ourselves a functioning swing in Minecraft. Let me explain. First, we're going to start off by building this archway of fences above where we want it. And then, after digging a V shape into the ground like this, we can add on our powered rails and then have our minecart go back and forth over the V. At which point, we add a saddled strider to the minecart, then with a couple of rabbits on ropes tucked down there with it, we can use moss carpet to cover up the whole mess, and then throw down an invisibility potion to finish it off. And there you go. Hop on the saddle and you've got yourself a working swing. Just don't expect to go very high off of it. It's more of a close to the ground kind of thing. Did you know Minecraft added in bugs? Well, not the ones in the code, but if we follow this user's advice, then we're able to make ourselves some pretty cute looking bugs to decorate our world. First, we drop an armor stand into the hole, push a block into its head, and then mix together an invisible item frame and some crimson vines to give ourselves the legs. At which point, you can add in a button of any color that you choose, and you'll have mixed together the head, body, and legs of your new bug. Just make sure no one comes by and presses the button. That'll squish it. Although they look like a full block, honey blocks actually have a smaller hitbox than we're used to, which means that if we place honey blocks next to a bubble elevator like this, if we squeeze in just right, we're actually able to ride the bubble elevator without ever touching the water. Which if you then use some map art to cover up the honey blocks, you can confuse your friends and make it look like you're levitating through air. Just don't step that far away from the corner, since don't forget, you're not actually touching water, you wouldn't have anything there to help you break your fall. If you're playing on Bedrock Edition and hold down shift and jump at the same time on your keyboard, then as you start placing down blocks, it's possible to build a tower 16 blocks high, all without ever leaving the ground. Which at that point, why would you ever need scaffolding? This seemed to do the trick just fine. Instead of cutting down your big spruce trees from the bottom, what you should rather do is before you grow the tree with bone meal, throw an ender pearl up to the sky, so that when you bone meal it, you'll land on the top of the tree. At which point, you don't have to worry about making yourself a staircase up as you're cutting down the tree, you can just take it all down in one go. Just make sure to have yourself a nice pair of feather falling boots. Otherwise, all the time that you would have saved is going to be wasted having to die to the ender pearl's fall damage. Instead of planting your crops outside, you should tuck them down in a cave. Now, I know, crops need light and sunshine and all that, but that's actually the point. Since if you were to plant your crop farm underneath a redstone lamp like this, then when it's time to harvest, all you gotta do is flip a lever on that switch, and all of the crops will be harvested in an instant. At which point, you can turn back on the light, plant all your crops, and get ready to do the same again next week. Having chests that we can put in our boats is a great thing, but you might be better using a llama instead. Since not only will a max storage llama still let us have some storage, but we can also put a friend on the back of the llama and keep up the same number of seats. That way we're not trading containers for company. At first glance, this jump seems impossible, and really it should be. But the truth is that if you happen to turn 45 degrees exactly while you're midair in the jump, then that'll let you jump 2% further than you would normally, which sounds imperceptible, but it's enough to make this jump. Though I can't stress enough how difficult this is to do. I mean, that's why we featured in the impossible skills video. Without the help of something like a mod like Tweakaroo, I'd have no chance of pulling this off. But if you can, it just might help you in a pinch. Every time that you see a hopper, there's a hidden cost of 5 iron ingots and a chest. But what if I told you that a way to cut down on this is to just use the chest and forget the hopper? Instead, alternating like this lets us cut down on how much iron that we have to spend. And the hoppers and chests will still flow the way that we're used to. So if you haven't yet set up that iron farm, this would be the choice that I'd pick for you. Here's how to make your boat self-driving. All you gotta do is create a 3x3 area of water, and then place down a fence gate on this third block here. At which point we can break these blocks and cause the water to flow, and we'll have given ourselves an automatic way to drive our boats. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?